Happy Friday. And I am really happy tonight. You know why? Duh, because I get to hang out with you guys. Seriously. I've been looking forward to this all week. And it's actually been a great week. Although, the former vice president, he says he's going to do some type of executive orders, executive actions, take some action from the executive branch. Now, the Constitution says that Congress makes law, right? It's pretty darn clear. The Bill of Rights affirms our God-given natural rights that weren't given to us by the Founding Fathers. They weren't given to us by the first Congress. They're just reaffirming things that all of us have, that all of us cherish, right? However, the Declaration of Independence, it sets up the way this country was formed. And I'm going to read it here in just a minute, guys, because we are going to have a good time tonight. This is actually all about being positive. I'm here to offer encouragement. I'm here for all of you to share your ideas and wisdom, because first and foremost, we can never become a communist country. And we have to fight like hell to keep America and to keep this republic. That, as Ben Franklin said when he was asked, do we have a republic, sir, or a monarchy? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. And that you is you right now. And we've had really good times in this country. And in many ways, this is still the best place on earth. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm sure you are too, right? But in other ways, it looks like we're trying to go down that tyrannical path. The one that our founding fathers said we were going to break the chains that bound us together and form this republic that was based on a self-governance. A republic of the United States of America. And no, we're not a democracy. And no, we don't want to be like the rest of the world. They can keep their tyranny there. And they can do all that, but we're America, and I don't want to be like them, and there's good people that live there. So, you guys know how it goes by now, right? We've had really good times in this country, and we're going to have a great time tonight, but here's the problem. Good times make weak men. And then when we become weak, then we end up with really bad times. And I think we're in some pretty bad, dark days right now. I mean, the former vice president said himself, if you remember last fall, when he was running, he said, you know, if you elect me, he said, it's going to be a really dark winter. He said that, and it was quite dark. A lot of people have been unemployed. We're sitting there watching him and many others try to strip us of our God-given natural rights that were affirmed, not given, by the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, you know, the 4th, 5th, 10th, 14th. Pretty much, it seems like to me, they're wanting to destroy our whole Bill of Rights, our Constitution, and our founding documents. So guess what? When we have bad times, the only way we're going to get out of it is if we go from being weak men to strong men. And for all the women that watch, I know you ladies aren't snowflakes, so that includes you, obviously. So here's what we need to do. We need to start thinking. We need to be vigilant. There's many ways we can approach this, and I'm going to talk through some of it tonight. Some things we can do still within this system, as broken as it is. And I get it. Virtually every Democrat on the national level want to take your guns. And in my opinion, they want to take all of them. And I believe they're never, ever going to stop till they're all gone. Then we have the Republicans. And we've talked about this so much. We talked about it last year. And unfortunately, we're still talking about it, aren't we? They're what we call the lesser of two evils. They're the other side of the same coin. They might not want to take quite as much. They might want to compromise with the other side a little bit. But at the end of the day, not really many of them are doing a good job either, are they? You know, these are government people. They have their own self-interest in mind, where they want power and they want money. But then again, I repeat myself, right? And once they get a taste of power, once they're given just a little bit too much power, they never, ever, ever want to give it back. And here's where I'm at. You know, just regular good people. If we're hanging out and it's like, hey, man, do you want to go eat at Wendy's or McDonald's? And my buddy's like, well, we had Wendy's yesterday. Let's go to McDonald's. I hate the place, but I'll compromise with my friend, right? Well, let's go where you want to go. See, compromise is a good word when you're doing it with people who actually care about you and actually respect you. But when it comes to the government, they're not your friends. They're supposed to work for us, but they don't look at it that way anymore. They look at us like the plebes, like we're their royal subjects. Isn't that kind of ironic? Because that's exactly what this country was formed against, to get rid of that. So here's where I'm at with the Second Amendment and all of our God-given rights. But I believe the Second Amendment's there in case they try to take all the rest. And I believe they are indeed trying to take all the rest of our natural rights every single day. I'm not going to compromise with them. There's nothing to compromise. Because if they really wanted to compromise, they would say, well, okay, fine. And I don't want this either. I'm just giving you guys an example. But we don't even see this. As sick as my example is, they won't even do this. You never see the Republicans say, all right, we'll entertain something with background checks, but you're going to completely abolish the National Firearms Act. Now, I don't want to give up any of our rights, but that would at least be something where there's a little bit of give and take. But no, what they really mean when they say compromise is this. The one side says, we want all of your guns, all of them. Like right now, we'll still let you keep your shotgun, but don't worry. Once we take everything else, we're going to come for your shotgun too. That's what it appears that most, if not all, of the Democrats in power want. So then the Republicans come back and they're like, well, all right, hold on a minute. We'll compromise with you. So if you don't take all of our guns, we'll just kind of let you guys chip away at a few things here and there. And then we can still come back to our constituents and get up on our stump and say, hey, look, we fought off these 99 things. And then they'll just kind of keep quiet on the one or two things that they actually let slip through or put in an omnibus bill. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? Now, I see people like Mitch McConnell getting up there in the United States Senate. He's talking about, well, if I have to, I'll make sure none of the 50 senators come into the chamber so there won't be what's called a quorum. See, there's a rule in the Senate where unless at least half the people are there, there's no quorum and they can't actually vote. So then the former junior senator from California wouldn't even be able to be the tiebreaker. That's with us having a split 50-50 Senate. And he's talking about all these procedures. See, here's the thing. Mitch McConnell, the Senate minority leader now, former majority leader, he's very smart at one thing. He knows how to manipulate the rules of the Senate. He knows the parliamentarian. He knows all these things. And he better. He's been a public servant. I'm using air quotes, guys. For his whole life. The man's like 80 years old, and I don't think he's ever had a real job in the private sector. So he knows all the little rules, and he's talking about different ways that he can stop this bill and that bill. And well, why aren't you doing it for gun rights, Mitch? Why don't you sit there and say, repeal the National Firearms Act, repeal the 68 GCA, repeal the 86 Hughes Amendment to the Firearms Owners Protection Act, repeal all of it, or we're never going to come in there and make a quorum. I just found out recently from the senior senator of Kentucky, McConnell, that he can actually do that. But instead, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, nope. We're doing the best we can to fight it off. You put us in power. Well, it's not working out, is it? It's not working out. Now, I'm going to note this, and I'm going to read the Declaration in 1 second. But before we do, because there's a tendency, and I kind of get this way sometimes too, where you're like, well, look, if everyone in the government is just completely terrible, and most of them are, there's a few that I think I like, but who knows for sure with them either, right? People say, well, why do we need any government at all? And in a way, that sounds good. But here's the problem. As Madison wrote when they were doing the Federalist Papers, he said, but look, if men were angels, we would need no government at all. But men are not angels, right? And then he did go on, though, and said the government is not angels either. So, yeah, we do need some form of government. I don't think it's going to work with a country this large. And the fact that a lot of people are inherently evil. I mean, it's just the way it is. We'd like to think everybody's nice, but they're just not. I'm sure you guys meet people like that every day, right? Even though our country was set up on the premise that this country would only work if people did have a high degree of honor, a high degree of self-respect, and actually to have somewhat of, a religious being to them. Now, religious freedom, that's in the First Amendment, but some higher authority that they have to actually walk in line with. And that's what our country was set up as. So we've seen the government stray really far away from the principles, the founding principles, and I feel a lot of the people have too, to be honest with you. So I don't know that the answer is just no government at all, because then you could find ourselves with roving gangs. And if you look at countries like Cambodia, the small little country that's war-torn and probably one of the worst places to live on earth in many respects, Probably nobody here watching from there, but God bless you if you are, because they probably don't let people watch YouTube. I think I read recently there's like 93 different factions that are armed, that have their own like military groups, right? That claim to rule different parts. So I don't think that's necessarily the best thing either. And some of you that have served our country overseas have seen this. Some of us have seen it, in documentaries and just stuff on the internet, right? You go to some of these, as the president used to say, asshole countries, right? And there's just like roving gangs of people, like 37 people with machine guns in the back of these little Toyota T100 pickup trucks. And those are awesome trucks, but they're driving around and they're, in the desert, and they're just like, pay your tax to us or we'll execute you and your family in the street. I don't really think we want that either, do we? But I do think it's time for us to start resetting our government. And how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to give you guys some ideas in just a second, give you guys some of my thoughts on what you need to do to physically prepare, because I still think gun control is imminent. How bad is it going to be? I don't know. Hope it's not bad at all. And before anyone even says he's fear-mongering, hey, look, just get over yourself. If you haven't been panic buying to a point yet, and you don't realize that the wolves are at the door yet, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to fend for yourself, because all of us with any common sense know, yes, the current former vice president and his whatever you want to call them all, his cabal, his cronies, they're anti-gun. That's what they ran on. He's bragged that in 93, he was instrumental in getting the 94 AWB passed. Like, these people have done this before. They're promising to do it again. And unless we fight like hell, they're going to keep doing it until they're all gone. And if that scares somebody, hey, whatever. You know what? It's scary sometimes to have freedom. It is. But we're going to have to do something, and we're going to have to really start figuring out what we're going to do, or there's not going to be much left. And we won't have this great country for our kids and our grandkids, okay? In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Listen to that. To which the laws of nature and to nature's God entitle them. You're entitled to these rights. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Just think about that. You want to hear something that's beautiful? I'm going to say it one more time. That are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what you have. And you always will, and you've always had it. And you need to remember that. And you need to find strength in that. I'm serious. It's about one of the only things that keeps my head up right now, to be honest. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness, but that the people will find most effective. We're not talking about a government, man. We're not talking about the former vice president. We're talking about me and you right here. That's who this document was written for, is literally you and me. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, and they have been sufferable, and we've been suffering, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. And you know what? Such has been the sufferance of all of us. And look, this is just a piece of paper, okay? And it means absolutely nothing unless it means something to you, and unless it means something to 100 million other patriots, probably 200 million patriots, and then it is actually going to mean something. And this is how we're going to have to make the changes we need in this country, is remembering right where it started. The closer we can get to this, what I just read, in my opinion, the better we're going to be. What do you guys think? I think the Founding Fathers, with their strength from God, were probably some of the smartest people I've ever seen. I wish I could have met them. Marty McGill with the super chat. Thanks, man. Says we are on our own and we need to have as many firearms as we can afford. I just started reloading because I believe in having my own force. I agree. How many do you guys need? That's something people ask me sometimes. You know what? Whatever you think you need. Now, if you're wanting to own a gun and you haven't bought one yet, I'd hurry up if I were you. I don't see prices getting much better anytime soon. If you think you need one and you know how to use it, hey, they always say, fear the man that only owns one gun because he actually knows how to use it, right? There is something to that. But if you feel you need to own 100 guns, that's fine with me. Why would I care? It's actually none of my business. And I'd say, cool, awesome. It's 100 times cooler to have 100 of them than to have one, right? I'm sure there's some of you guys that do. And that's awesome. Reb with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Channel member too. Thanks to all the Patreon supporters. Channel members, by the way, those of you that leave these chats, I really appreciate you guys. That's what makes me, able to take a little time off work and do things for the channel and to buy the stuff that I show you guys. So I really appreciate it. And just all of you who hang out and just have a good time. You guys are supportive too, in many ways, more than you would even know. So thank you, everybody. Red says we're the 3%. We just haven't figured it out yet. Liberty or death. Yeah. And it's probably always been that way, right? To be honest with you. And look, I'm not trying to say that we need to go out right now, and I don't know where the next Lexington is or Concord Bridge, and I'm certainly not advocating anything like that. Susan Wiki. By the way, she wasn't too good to me. Last night I put out a video, and out of the blue, like a comment would pop up. It'd pop up in my little notification in studio, and I was in there for like 2 hours, like literally answering everyone's comments I could. And I would go to answer, and it would say an error has occurred. And then I'd hit refresh, and it'd be gone. She was just deleting comments left and right. And someone said, hold on a minute. Have you bought her flowers lately? And I said, no, actually, I haven't. So I did tonight. I bought her a dozen roses with the extra long thorns on them. I said, hold the thorns, the longest thorns you have, I told the florist. And hope she doesn't hurt herself too much. But I don't know. I did what I could, guys. Hopefully she doesn't censor this stream or the chat too much. But, man, I don't know what her deal was. I told her, I said, look, we can only be friends. I told her, I said, look, I'm married, you're married. And I stated the obvious to her. I said, listen, Susan, if you saw my wife and then you looked in the mirror, you have no chance, girl. So, maybe we can still be friends. We'll see. I'm not sure. Trust me, she has no chance. Ammo Wizard, thanks for the super chat, man. KMR militia ready and standing by. Neighborhood defense for stronger than ever. Rather die on my feet than on my knees. And that's good to hear, man. And that's actually what we're going to talk about tonight. Stuff that we can do. Because I'll tell you what, the Founding Fathers, they didn't just instantly come over here and say, all right, we're here. All right. There's Lexington. There's the Concord Bridge. No. They actually came over here as loyal British subjects. And as far as I can tell, they actually planned on being and starting over in this new world still, being loyal to their king, to the monarchy. But then they started this long train of usurpations, right? And after a while, they said, no, enough's enough. And there were many things. There were many, many things they did. In fact, there's a whole long list. That's the second part of this document that I didn't read all of the things that the king had been doing to the colonists and to his loyal subjects, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, they were very, very patient people. And we've been very patient too, haven't we? Now, I still think there's some more diplomatic things we can do. And I hope most of us, and I'm sure all of you guys, I hang out with like really smart people. You guys are seriously like really smart. So I'm sure like I'll only touch on like 1/10 of what we should be doing to help save our Second Amendment and our country. I mean, I just want my country back. You guys know what I'm saying? Like literally, it's that simple. Give me my country back. Leave me the heck alone. I'll be just fine. If I have my life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and there's no jackboot on my neck, I'll be good. I'm like, who would even argue with that? But you guys, seriously, help each other out in the chat. Think of ideas. Hopefully some of you guys are neighbors. Hopefully if you're not friends yet, a lot of you guys become friends tonight and then all the weeks that we do these chats, okay? Because we're going to need each other. You know, good people need to be around good people. We need to spread positive energy. And I don't know, I have a few ideas, and hopefully you guys can join in with as many good ideas as you possibly can, because I need you guys, and America needs you, and we all need each other. Literally, I'm not being corny. It's just the truth. Dr. Warren with a super chat. Thanks, man. Another channel member. He says, hey, 2A, the lawyers at the Bar Association sent a letter to the former vice president to show him ways to circumvent the Constitution, to enact gun control. It's crazy. Hey, you know what? Somebody just said we're the 3%ers right now, right? Okay. No, that's a good analogy. Now, do you guys remember the Tories? The people that were siding with the redcoats that would actually rat out their fellow patriots, wouldn't they? And there was a lot more people that remained loyalist than fought for freedom and that fought for this unanimous declaration of the 13 United States. See, it doesn't say colonies anymore. They were colonies up until they wrote this. And when they wrote this, it was their death sentence. So if they would have lost. At that time, it was perceived to be their death sentence. I mean, come on, give me a break. George Washington, okay? He didn't even have like a regular proper army at the time. They were going to take on the powerful British Empire? No, it was literally impossible. But here's the thing. They had God on their side. They had good on their side. And they had the toughest people on their side. And that's what we need right now. But I'll tell you what, they had Tories back then, and we have Tories today. And that's where I would lump the Bar Association and many, many other people and groups. Modern day Tories, aren't they, Dr. Warren? Yeah, it's crazy, but not completely surprised, am I? Phil Ellis with a super chat. Thanks, man. He said resistance is the way. Supporting primary 2A candidates. Dude, Phil, hold on, guys. I have to check for Phil here. I thought Phil was like in my shop reading my mind. I was going to say my notes, but I don't actually keep notes for these. Literally, there's no notes. But that's actually one of the things I was talking about, dude. And I told you there's really smart people that watch. Supporting primary 2A candidates. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Working with state-level 2A organizations is the third way. We must reset this government. And like literally, he just stole like half my talking points. Maybe we should make this the Phil Ellis show from now on. What do you guys think? You guys think I'm joking, don't you? When I'm like, hey, look, like you guys are like way smarter than me. So all I do is sit there and, you know, get you guys' good ideas and come on here and I look like I'm smart. But that's because I have like 300 smart friends right now watching. So John Doe with a super chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. He says, I live in Massachusetts. Do you think if I buy Polymer 80 kit, the one that's legal now, will the ATF come to my door after they are banned? What do you think? See, that's what's interesting about that. And I can't give legal advice on here, and I think you guys know that. I'm not a lawyer, you know, but they have been coming to people's doors for purchasing things that are actually perfectly legal right now, like the buy, build, shoot kit. They're after a piece of artwork on a card that the ATF says looks like something, and since it looks like something that they don't like, look, man, I'd like to tell you no way. There's no way they would do that. But look, truth is treason in the empire of lies, and I don't even know, like, how many fingers am I holding up? Like, this is like so 1984 and fascism and just all these things combined that we're experiencing right now. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. And I know that's not why you left the super chat. You wanted a more proper answer. But I will tell you this, John. Think about this, and anyone else who's thinking about this, because I have a feeling a lot of you are. Let's just say if you were to buy a Polymer 80 cash, okay? If you were to buy it from a third party, just like a regular person, I'm not telling you to circumvent anything because I don't see where there'd be a problem with that, right? I don't know. Just stop having boating accidents, guys, is all I'm saying. Stop having boating accidents because, like, if you're going to need it, you need it, right? You don't want to be trying to swim to the bottom of the lake and all that. I'd have a great conversation with you, John, if you were sitting here with me right now in my shop, because I have a lot of thoughts about that. But here's the deal, guys. I am on YouTube right now. And although Susan Wiki really likes me, there's some stuff that they don't like so much. And I do believe that imports, as I just put a video out last night, are one of the things on the top of the, whatever you even want to call him, former vice president, because he doesn't even know where he is. Have you seen him lately? He's shubanometer pressure. And apparently that's how he got his votes. He doesn't know where he is, but his people, his cabal, they're after these 80 kits. I know for a fact they are. That's like one of their top things. They're going to really try to see what they can do to restrict 3D printers, aren't they? Now, look, the ATF literally has somebody right now. The federal government has somebody locked up in a cage because he put a picture on a metal card, artwork that looked like something they don't like. So you have to put all this into perspective. Yeah. Pretty tyrannical, and I can't even imagine what would happen if one or all of the founding fathers were alive right now, in power, and just like walked in one day to go to work for the people and saw what's going on right now. I think they'd probably pass out, and I would hope they wouldn't all have heart attacks, but I think they actually might. What do you guys think? It's literally that crazy. And I think people are giving you some good advice, man. And I spent a lot of time on that chat because this is one of the main questions right now. Like, okay, I will not comply. And that's great to say, and we shouldn't comply with tyranny at all. But then there's also the logic, like, live to fight another day, right? Like, what hill do you want to die on? Do you want to go up alone on the top of the P80 hill? God bless your dog. Make sure your dog's in order. Your Roomba vacuum cleaner, because stuff can get hairy real quick when the boys come. They usually come in full force. So worth it to go up on that hill by yourself, all alone, when there's 30 of them and one of you over the P80. Now, some people will come in here, and there may be people watching right now that'll say, well, absolutely. Okay. Are they just typing that, or would they really do it? And then there's other people that are like, hold on a minute. I mean, I don't really want to die on the P80 hill by myself and accomplish absolutely nothing and then help it get past even quicker. So, yeah, it is a very interesting concept. And I definitely don't have all the answers. I don't. And if we had more free platforms where we could talk about things, we could probably talk a little further. But this is the reality that we're in. This is the format that we're in right now, isn't it? Yeah, Cave Dave, what's happening, man? How you doing? Nice to see you. It's always good to see you and your dog. I like that dog. He says, I wanted to buy some of that artwork, but I didn't. Maybe that was a good decision. Look, guys, you probably know what I'm talking about, but, literally made artwork on a card of a steel and just, scribed in the images of something the ATF doesn't like. And he's locked up as we speak. And look, there's so many things right now to keep track of. It's like there's that this week. The week before it was the buy build kits. The week before that it was this gun show place that appeared to be anti-gun, that was saying you couldn't sell the P80 kits. I mean, it's literally something different every single week, isn't it? And I think that's what they want to do. They want to just sit there and just bombard us with so much stuff, and they're always checking the temperature, aren't they? And saying, well, let's see here. What do people really care about? And they just keep whittling away until eventually they're like, all right, now we just want everything. And then all the Elmer Fuds out there that are like, my shotgun, my double barrel shotgun. And they're going to look to us and say, come save us. Where's the 100 million gun owners? And when hopefully this doesn't happen, right? But if we let it keep going like it is, we don't have our AR-15 anymore. We don't have our AK anymore. And then I guess they'll be sitting there with their lead-free, environmentally friendly number 7.5 birdshot. And they'll have to take out, the tyrannical government with their double barrels and their over under 12 gauges. I mean, some might have 16 and 20 gauge too, but I don't know. That might make the difference, right? Okay, somebody said this earlier. This is something that I've talked about for a couple years now. And you know what's interesting? I did some videos last summer, and some people got a lot out of those videos and really liked them. Other people was like, I'm unsubscribing from this channel. It's gone too political, they said. We just want gun videos, but I don't really care because I'm never going to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I'm on here to meet as many awesome people as I can. But if somebody wants to unsubscribe because they only want to watch gun videos while I'm out beating the streets, well, hey, I'm sorry. Just go to someone else's channel, watch only the gun videos, and then when they ban them all, you guys can all sit together and talk about what could have been or what used to be. So if you guys remember, last primary season, literally, I had candidate Mike Detmer on my show. I had candidate Rick Nieper on my show. I've done streams with people like constitutional attorney Catherine Henry, people like then candidate Bob Bazat, who is now in the Michigan House of Representatives. And I was actually there during the primaries, like while they were running in their primaries. That's who you saw. If you saw United States congressional candidate Mike Detmer on this stream, okay, a year ago, that's because he was running in the primary, because we didn't want the lesser of two evils. We didn't want the other side of the coin, okay? And that's really what we need to do. And the gentleman that mentioned primary elections, I'm going to say it here, and I hope some of you guys maybe can find some fun in this. I know it doesn't sound like the funnest thing ever, but I'm going to be going back around again to local candidates in my area, my state, on the very local level, through the county levels, into the state level, and then even, to the United States Congress. And I'm going to go live stream some of these rallies and some of these events, and I'm going to do interviews with some of them. Just so hopefully, now there's a few of you that live around here that will actually enjoy hearing what their platform is, because you may see them on the ballot. But the bigger picture is this. This hopefully will give some of you guys ideas where you can go around to your local communities. You can find your local candidates. Because I guarantee you, for the United States Congress, which we need some big victories here in the midterms coming up. We really do. I don't want to say it's our only hope, because that's not true either. Our only hope is the American people. You and me are our only hope, right? But it's sure going to be a heck of a lot better. A heck of a lot better if we can get some really good people to actually primary out some of these rhinos and some of these Republicans that want to compromise away our God-given rights. And that's how you do it. They're called primary elections, because there's always a patriot or two that are there on the grassroots level. But nobody cares about primary elections, I don't want to say nobody does. I know a lot of you guys do, but I guarantee you, even if you're into all this stuff, if you start talking to your friends, they're going to say, what's a primary? Like, I don't care about that. Like, that's boring. And yeah, it can be boring, but only if you want it to be. Now, me, I've not been bored with any of it. Some of these candidates, former candidates, whatever they are, some of them are going to be candidates again, are now my friends. So I've met really good friends that way. And then just all of my friends, many who are probably in the chat tonight, that I've, that are still good friends to this day. And I'm looking forward to seeing as many of them as possible. Coming up here on April 10th, there's going to be a local rally. So, look, I don't know what to tell you guys. If you just sit back and say, well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils, and that just sucks. Well, maybe you're not working hard enough. Maybe you're not going out and actually finding people that are running on the grassroots level. They're available. It's freedom of information. Like, you can literally find out who are the people that are going to be on your primary ballot. It's not hard to do. Maybe I need to do a video one day showing people. I will. But I don't know if you guys could believe this or not. When I did that last summer, I spent a lot of time, literally getting with true Second Amendment candidates. People would say stuff like, well, that person's not running in my state, so I don't care. All right, well, that wasn't the point, really. It was, as far as for people that live around here, of course, they get to see their platform, vote for them if they want. But it was to show you guys, what it's like. How, a regular person like me, who's literally nobody, just literally got in with the right group of friends, met some of the people that were running, and sat down and talked to them. They'll talk to you. Do you know how many times I'd be at a Second Amendment event, right? I'd be there with, again, these are candidates, many other people too, but people like Mike Detmer would be there. People like Rick Nieper would be there, Bob Bazat, many others. And we'd be talking, having a conversation about the Second Amendment or something else important. Someone would just walk right up, shake their hand, and ask them questions like, would you support any gun bans or not? And you can literally walk up to these little social gatherings that these people have. And then a lot of people left and said, well, you're doing too much politics. We're out of here. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, though. I'm going to try. And I appreciate there's some of you that are still, encouraged by that. You want to know what's really interesting, guys? And I should have told you guys this ahead of time. I should have told you this, because if someone would have wanted to make a bet, I could have won money on this. My viewership has dropped 50 viewers in the last 3 or 4 minutes since I started talking about politics. Now, I wasn't even talking about like any certain platform. I literally just told people, if you're tired of trying to explain to you how it works and how you can get involved on the local level. And I think that explains a lot of where we're at right now and why we are. John Doe, thanks for another super chat, man. He said, do you think the polymer 80 kits will ultimately be banned? All of them. What's your opinion on full auto conversion? Should it be legal? Okay. Should it be legal? Yes, of course it should be legal. It should all be legal. Like literally, look. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. So we know why, okay? And this necessary, free state, we all want that, right? Security, right? That's the first part of it. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And that's just so blatant, shall not be infringed. It doesn't mean a little bit. It doesn't mean one thing. No. In my opinion, nothing should be banned. I did say that. Nothing should be banned. Now, there's one asterisk, because there's always the person out there. Well, what about a nuke, 2A EDU? What about a nuke? Well, first of all, in my opinion, nukes even existing is people trying to play God. A weapon that powerful, I don't think should exist anywhere on the whole earth. I wish they never existed. To me, that's Satan's work on earth, that something that insane even exists. So no, nobody should have nukes, not any government, not citizens. Now, once we get that out of the way, yeah, anything. Do I think they will ultimately be banned? Do I want them to be or think? I don't want them to be. The way things have been going, right? The way things have been going where we basically have this compromised Republican Party, okay? And we have the Democrats who want to ban everything. And then when you're just sitting there trying to rally gun owners and people that you'd think would care about this stuff, about what primary elections are and how you can get involved in your local community, people give you thumbs downs and unsubscribe and leave your chat. So with that said, of course they're going to be banned, dude. Of course they're going to be. Look, it's only a republic if we can keep it. And we're really going to have to step up a lot, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, do I want them to be banned? Heck no, of course not. I literally said besides nukes, which no one should have, yeah, we should have them, of course. Machine guns, all of it. Tank, yep. Of course we should be able to have a tank. Why not? The government works for us. I truly believe we're supposed to be just as well armed as the United States military, and actually the United States military, the standing army that was prohibited when the country was founded. Go look that up. It's true, by the way, that the people could take it over in just a second if we wanted to, just to smash it. But you know what? People can't even take 5 seconds about politics. They can't even grasp the fact that, well, first of all, I can't touch guns on live streams, but they only want to see pew, 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 and will this bullet blow up a safe? And that's all they care about. And then they start freaking out saying, well, they ban stuff. And then when you start to say, well, hold on a minute, there's probably ultimately, really good folks in your community. You can probably meet the people that are running in the primaries so that if the Republican does win, they're actually a true freedom-loving patriot. And then they get ticked off and leave. Because you know what I think a lot of it is? A lot of people hate freedom, but they really like guns. And they really like nice things. And they're just feeding into their materialism. But to actually have to sit there and actually have to put their boots on the ground and go out there and actually try to make a difference and do homework, which some of it is a little more tedious than others, and listen to the people's speeches that are running for office and hold their feet to the fire and actually meet them in person and shake their hands and go to their offices. And by the way, I'm going to Lansing, Michigan to talk to a sitting rep very soon, and I'm going to have footage on this channel to prove it. But as soon as you start talking about that, they get ticked off because they just want to sit and talk about guns. Just want to sit and talk about guns that are going to be banned because it was just a little bit too much effort to go out there and actually try to do anything about it. So that is actually my encouragement to all of you guys, is to actually try to do something about it. Now, I know a lot of us don't have much money. And unfortunately, for certain things, you need a lot of money to do it. You need a lot of money to buy lots of guns and ammo. Trust me, I get that right now. It's insane, isn't it? But you can actually sit there and get a lot done locally. from the grassroots level with not much money at all. Like, I've never seen a speaking event that somebody that's going to be running for the United States Congress in the primaries, I've never seen them charge you to come there. You know what? Often there's people in the community that if you just put it out there and you say, hey, I need a ride to the local school board meeting, I'm a patriot and I just want my voice to be heard and I want to hold these public servants accountable, somebody will probably give you a ride. Like, it's literally that simple. I guarantee you guys, if you had literally zero money, you could probably literally start getting involved right now. I'm dead serious. I really am. And I've seen it happen so much. I can prove it. Yeah, Rockford ordinances, people need to get involved locally in school boards and zoning. Yep, 2 areas where we can start. They change how our kids are educated and how and where we live. Pay attention, people. Yeah, school board. That's what I meant when I said very local politics, Rockford. And I said getting up into the county. That's what I was talking about. Now, look, I've talked to several people on my local township board. I live in a very small little community, okay? Yeah, and I've literally talked to all of them in the past week and a half, but on the phone with 2 of them in the last week. These are township supervisors, right? Not supervisors, trustee. And I've talked to the supervisor too, but the trustee and the clerk. There you go. My local township. And I'm going to be going up to the Lansing, Michigan state capitol to talk to a sitting representative. I'm going to be talking to candidates here just in the next couple weeks. And I have barely any money and I have barely any pull of anything. I just do it, right? How's it going, Rockford? I hope you're doing good, man. Nice to see you. Yeah, politicians do lie a lot. They do. But often we literally just end up with the lesser of 2 evils where we know both of them suck, right? But we have to vote for one because this one here might not exactly. Yeah. Look, Damon Alexander, unfortunately, politics have become so polarized that they are afraid of it. No, I agree with you, man. I do. And they're unwilling to do the right thing, to stand up and do the right thing. And you know what? I hate that things are so polarized. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, I guess I'm polarizing because I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to compromise the Second Amendment at all. Not even a little bit. However, I don't see why it has to be Democrats versus Republicans. Why aren't there? Look, if I had a nickel for everyone that came in there that said, I'm a Democrat, blah, 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 but I'm more pro-gun than you are. Well, where are you at then? Let's both go to the Second Amendment rally together. All right. Let's both vote for the best Second Amendment candidate in the primaries. But then they were like, no, I won't, though. I can't do that because I'm a Democrat. I don't know. Is it possible to be a Democrat nowadays and still be pro-gun? Maybe. But how do you vote? Let me ask you guys this question, and there might be someone in the chat that can answer this for me, and I'm not even being sarcastic. Okay, you're a Democrat. You're more pro-gun than I am, let's just say, right? Okay. How do you people vote? Like, who could you possibly vote for? Every single Democrat that's running on any kind of level, beyond maybe just the very, very local. You could have a pro-gun Democrat in your county. I get that. But let's just say United States Congress, United States Senate, and presidency. If the Second Amendment's like one of the most important things to you, and you believe just like I do, right, that it's there to protect all the rest, who are you voting for? How could you possibly? I don't understand it. And this is actually not just me asking whoever's in the chat because there might be nobody. But have you guys asked your friends that? Because we all have a Democrat friend that's like, I'm completely pro-gun, 100%, but I'm voting Democrat. I'm like, voting for who? Well, I voted for the former vice president. Oh, so you want to give up your guns? And then they say, from my cold, dead hands. I'm like, but hold on a minute. You voted for somebody that promised, if you elect me, I will take your guns. And he bragged that he's banned before, and he bragged that if elected or otherwise or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Hi, Susan Wiki. Completely free and fairly installed. There you go, Susan. He's going to take your guns. And you voted? I can't understand. Now, someone out there is probably thinking I'm being sarcastic. I'm actually not. Like, I literally can't understand it. MaxShot62, thanks for the super chat, man. He said, my deuce on a tripod would look cool in anybody's yard. I agree. See, that's why Lamy looks so cool, right? My deuce. Hold on, can you guys see that? Let me move it just a little bit there. There we go. My deuce right here. Defensively, Susan, it's not real. Yeah. My deuce with Lamy sitting there, probably riding shotgun in the half-track tank, right? Thanks for the gas money last week, man. Oh, speaking of good news, last week I was there with Marksman TV, right? Marksman Shooting Sports at his shop. Dude, I had such a good time, guys. Like, literally, we filmed his weekly used gun review. Totally awesome. I hope you guys all got a chance to go over to his channel and watch that. And, of course, we live streamed on this channel, not here, but in Indiana. And let me tell you something about this guy. As nice as you possibly could think he is by watching his videos, and I've always thought he was, like, cool as heck, right? And he's been one of my favorite channels for a long time. Nope, I was wrong. He's like 5 to 10 times cooler and nicer in real life than he is even on his channel. So I was so blessed and so lucky to get to go hang out with him for the evening in his shop, do some videos together, hang out. And yeah, I feel truly blessed to call him my friend. And it was totally awesome, guys. And I'm not going to give you too much because if I do, there won't be any reason to watch. See, I do that to you guys if you haven't noticed once in a while. But I did actually leave with a very special gift, and it's going to be the subject of one of my reviews coming up very soon. So, heck yeah, it was totally awesome. And I know a lot of you guys had fun hanging out in the stream with us last Saturday, and we really had a lot of fun. Trust me, we did. And it was worth it was a 4-hour drive there. And I said, guys, I do have to get going. We cut the stream off at about an hour. I'm like, I have to drive 4 hours back. I lied to you. Yep, I'm lying again. It was not a 4-hour drive back because there was thunderstorms coming from every which way. And there was like water on the roads, and I was hydroplaning and had to slow down. And it was about 6.5 hours to get back, at least. So there you guys go. Would I do it again? Oh, heck yeah, I'd do it again. And I might again someday. It was totally fun. I appreciate it. All of you guys that hung out with us. And that's why we had a good time, actually, because we were hanging out with you guys in the stream and we shot the video together. But yeah. No, this is Lami. Lami is a llama. And this is Mr. Potato Head. And now, here's the thing. Not only is this Mr. Potato Head, who's a potato, and this is the Elvis Presley special edition, but Mr. Potato Head is a man, and that's why we call him Mr. Potato Head. So there you go. For all you Elvis fans out there, and Mr. Potato Head fans, and all of you pronoun fans out there. And if your favorite pronoun is Z and Zer, sorry, this is Mr. Potato Head, and I don't know. I still believe in men and women, and I'm glad to own this. So there you guys go. I knew someone would want to see that. Somebody told me, they said, 2A EDU, you're one of the most polarizing people on YouTube. I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. I guess people are polarized nowadays. I don't think I am. I'm like, he's Mr. Potato Head. Why? Why is he Mr. Potato Head? Wait for it. Because he's a man, and his name's Mr. And that's Elvis, like the king of rock and roll. And this is still America, in my opinion. So that's why. I don't know. I never thought that would be polarizing to say something like that. But apparently in the times we live in, right, Susan Wiki? I don't know. Did someone say they're eating? Hold on a minute. Hold on. Ugh. Guero, come on, man. Just ate me some cow intestines. Sounds disgusting, but it's delicious. You know what, dude? I'm going to take your word for it. You can even eat my portion, and I won't even ask you for a bite. What do you guys think, though? Might be an acquired taste, right? Guero, he's my friend, and I like him, but whew. I need a drink after that. Cow intestines. You think you've seen it all? Oh, man, you guys are awesome. What's up, the reptile guys? Thanks for the super chat, man. Another channel member. Thank you. He says, wish I had the social skills you do. Dude, I just said 2A EDU. They said, I'm unsubbing because you talked about what we need to do in the elections is the first thing they said. Then they came back again. I said, I thought you were gone. They're like, before I unsub, you're also the most polarizing. All right, cool. And you don't even own any guns. And I said, all right. And you suck. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment. He says, wish I had the social skills you do. I don't get along well with people. I don't get along with people very well. and I don't do large gatherings. I try to do my part, call and write my rep. You know what, man? That is doing your part. That's totally fine. And here's the thing. Writing your rep's a good thing. But you know what else you can do, reptile guys? And all of you can do this. Okay, primaries. There's people right now already declaring that they're running in the primaries. Like literally right now, you can get maybe an incomplete list, but very soon you're going to get a complete list. Call those people, reptile guys. Seriously, those are people where you can actually get a hold of them. Email them. If you're into the social medias, you can usually send them like a private Facebook message. Do that too, and you're doing awesome. Seriously, that's the only thing I would encourage you to do. Write and call your reps. Yes, awesome. Try to feel out the primaries a little bit. You don't need to go there necessarily. You can read their platforms usually. You can watch their speeches or their gatherings or rallies they're having. Usually just check out and find out who they are first of all, and then follow them, see what they're doing, and write them, call them. Right on, dude. Everyone has different ways. Look, and you might be like 10 times better at doing a lot of things that I could do. And that's like why I said this at the very beginning. We need each other. It's not just me. It's not just you. Like we're all nobodies. But we do all each individually hold these rights that were endowed by our Creator that pre-existed this government, and we'll still have them no matter what this government does. But when you combine, one person turns to two, etc., and you end up with tens of millions of people, yeah, that can go a long ways. Think about it. People talk about, well, 3%. Okay. What if you took even less than that and just had a couple million people in this whole country that were actually serious about getting their rights back? I don't know. How many people are in the United States military, for example? We literally influence policy throughout the whole world with our United States Armed Services. And I guarantee you, if you took 3%, like someone mentioned earlier, of us, that would be a lot more formidable than our United States Armed Service, right? And a lot of you are either in the service now or veterans. You guys could probably answer that for me. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Pretty sure 3% of the people would be a lot more people than is currently enlisted at any given point in time. Enlisted or commissioned, people that are serving. It sounds kind of crazy at first, like millions of people. And then if you're like, well, hold on a minute. If it was even just 3%, that's more than what our armed forces currently are, isn't it? Bludgeoned American Patriot with the super chat. Thanks, man. I'm trying to find it here. Hold on. Susan skipped it. Like I can see your name up top. There it is. Thanks for the super chat, man. How's it going? Contact trace this, he says. I agree. And by the way, passport? No, I don't think so. It ain't going to happen with me. No passport. But I digress. He says, glad I caught you live, brother. I just went to the range yesterday and a box of 9mm ball, 50 count, was $85 plus tax. Dang, man. Stay awesome. Well, thanks, man. Keep your head up, too. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Hopefully you can do a little better than that. I have seen it cheaper, but I understand. A lot of times, it's not in stock online. And if you go and buy just one box, you get totally ripped off on the shipping. I have heard that. I've heard people spending, $1 around for 9mm. I've heard $2 around. So if it makes you feel any better, I did recently, just like 2 days ago, someone said they were spending $100 for 50 rounds of 9mm ball, and that's way too much. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to go out and have a little fun. And what's the price on peace of mind and just a little bit of happiness, right? Now, furthermore, if you're doing some training or breaking in a gun or just doing some practicing, what's your life worth? Probably a lot more than $85, right? We spend all kinds of money on all kinds of things just to try to vent and have a little fun. And I agree with you. Going out and shooting to me is one of the funnest things I do. And it just sucks that it costs so much, because it used to be a somewhat, well, it's always been an expensive activity, of course. Guns have always been a money pit. Guns and boats, right? What does BOAT stand for? BOAT. Break out another 1,000. Well, boats and guns. But now it's just gotten to be insane. I used to think it was a lot of money, and it was. It's always been a lot of money for me to go out and shoot like 1,000 rounds in a day, right? Like that's insane. And spend like $200-ish to shoot 1,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39. I couldn't do that very often. That'd be something that, like, okay, it's been a couple years since I've shot that much in a day. Well, now that'd be insane. Like $200 could easily turn into $500, $1,000. So yeah, it's gone completely nuts. I get it. And you know what? You shouldn't feel guilty. DS says, I'm tired of feeling guilty. You know what, dude? I'm tired of it too. But just do it and don't feel guilty about it, okay? Don't feel guilty about it. IROC SS85, 100 people haven't hit the thumbs up yet. Thanks for reminding. So if you guys forgot to give the thumbs up, look, if you like the show, you know, and you're having a good time, leave me a thumbs up. But even if you don't, but you don't like Susan Wiki, that's her name. You know, she's kind of a big deal around here. Just give me a thumbs up because it really pisses her off. So, yeah, there you go. I'm just taking a quick look at the chat here. Hey, 2 passports is the way to go. Look, the passport. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know, the passport that they're talking about. No, I don't think so. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah, the Gray Man. Thanks for being a supporter, man. Channel member. Thank you. He says the military is in the process of being purged of so-called extremism, aka conservatism. I know it is, and it really, really sucks. And I'm not a veteran. And if I was a veteran, I'd probably be even about 10 to 50 times more ticked off than I am now. So feel free to chime in, guys and girls. I know we've got women vets, guy vets in here, and I don't think there's any Z or Zer vets in there. If there is, they probably left right around the time that I brought out Mr. Potato Head. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, veterans of all ages, what do you guys think about that? Kicking out all the extremists, aka you love your country and you believe in things like this, the Declaration, and you believed in your oath to defend against enemies, foreign and domestic. But now that's known as being an extremist. Yep. And the former vice president is too afraid to have people like that serve, so he wants them relegated to rear echelon, or just kind of processed out. Is that the same? They process you out, right? Help me with my terminology, guys. They want to process you out or move you back to the rearest possible echelon. Like you would sit there and run the pencil sharpener for the cook that would make notes on the menu, like that kind of rear echelon. That's what I've been hearing. Rockford Ordnance, what's up, dude? He says, we are all little pipsqueak nobodies, but together we are forced to be heard and reckoned with. Yes, sir. Anybody here that cares and gets involved are our brothers and sisters. Love all of you. Well, thanks for that encouragement, man. And of course I love all you guys. Thanks, man. Red, what's going on? Thanks for supporting the channel too, man. Says Rangers always have a premium on ammo. Yes, sir. You ran out. Now you can only get it from us. Mwahaha. I don't know. There's good people that own the ranges too, but yeah, I do know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man. What's up, Chuck R? Oh, he's talking to Red. I thought he said you know it. I'm like, wait a minute. Chuck R is agreeing with me, but thanks for supporting the channel, dude. Sorry I keep hitting my ring, guys. Sorry about that. I thought about the former vice president. For some reason, I'm just compelled to just punch my table. I mean, it has nothing to do with him, of course, Susan, but man, just accidentally, I'm like, someone said, the former vice president. And I'm like, punching holes through my desk. Mateo, thank you for supporting the channel and for being a moderator. I really appreciate it, man, and all of the ways that you contribute, both here in the streams and behind the scenes. He does a lot for the channel, guys, that you may or may not know about, and I hope you guys appreciate it because he's one of the reasons why these chats are so nice. And yeah, thanks, man. Here she is. Here's my girl. What's she putting in here? All right. Grassroots TeaPartyActivist.com. I'll take her word for it. She's a good one. Linda, happy Easter, peeps. Happy Easter to you. Susan froze the chat on me for 2 seconds. What the heck, Susan? Marco Polo left me a super chat. Thanks, man. He says, got my G3C Toro. Nice, nice. Was shorted a magazine. Okay, but working on fixing that. But preparing and learning. Thanks for the chat. Cool, man. You're welcome. Thank you. I don't know what's the deal. They shorted a lot of people, I guess. The last time I checked, the website still says 3 magazines. Now, Grab a Gun took care of it like instantly fast. I did a follow-up video. Hopefully you guys saw on that. So that worked out great. It was my first time dealing business with them. Asterix, I bought a couple magazines in 2013, but forgot about it. So first time I bought a gun, though, from them, certainly, right? And you guys were the ones that recommended I go there, and I did. They took care of it very quickly. After they took care of it and said, we'll have your mag out to you like ASAP, I said, okay, cool. I'm going to do a video on your, on your customer service. And I did, because I told you guys, look, I'll take your word for it. I don't really know much about these people. And I had a positive experience. So that was awesome. I hope whoever you bought it from can take care of you. If not, get a hold of Taurus, okay? If there's anyone watching that bought that G3C Toro, their website says 3 mags, period. If you tell Taurus that you got 2 and it was supposed to come with 3, I would be shocked if they didn't take care of you. There's a little chat thing that I've had to get a hold of them for other reasons in the past, so you can get in there, and it's not that hard to do. Is it going to be super quick? Probably not. I had a minor issue with them a while back, and it was like back and forth asking me 50 questions, whatever, but it was pretty easy. So I would be really, really shocked if they didn't take care of you on that 3rd mag. I mean, they kind of have to, right? Because they advertise that it comes with 3. They've only been giving 2. So, yeah. Alvin Davis with a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, look forward to your live chats. Well, thanks for the encouragement. I appreciate it, man. I do, too. I have so much fun doing this. And sometimes it sounds like, man, he's all pissed off. Well, of course I'm pissed off. Like, who wouldn't be? How could you possibly love God, love your country, love your family, and not be pissed off at what they're doing right now? Heck yeah, I'm mad. But it's okay to be mad once in a while. I don't think we should always just lie and say, hey, everything's fine. We're completely good with what the government's doing, and we love the former vice president. Why would we want to lie to people, right? There's no reason to lie. So, yeah, we're pissed off. Okay. Like I said before, good times make weak men, right? Okay, well, then people get too weak because they've had it too easy. Then we have bad times, and bad times make strong men. And I think we're in bad times right now. So in my opinion, it's time for us all just to get a little bit stronger, quite bluntly. Oh, yeah, lots of veterans in here. Yeah. Old Coastie, here we go. I think he's in the Coast Guard, was in the Coast Guard. What do you guys think? Maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. What do you think? Was Old Coastie in the Coast Guard, or was he in the United States Air Force? I'm messing with him. He said, let's see how the gender unknown do in combat. I don't know. I hope we don't have to find out the hard way, do we? I really hope we don't have to. Could you imagine that cover me? And they're like, I can't hold up my M4. Because the PT standards was they only had to lift 12 pounds. And their rifle was 6 mags, weighed 13 pounds, so they couldn't lift it up and they couldn't cover you. And I'm not even being sarcastic. That's going to be a really, really sad day when either the gender Z, unknown, ABCDEFG, elemental P, gender ID, neutral, non-specific, non-binary, you know what, crazy. Yeah. When they can't do it, they can't do it. Like, there's times when, like, the rubber has to meet the road, and it's going to be really, really sad. And I regret, even having to think about that. But you guys know something's going to happen, or maybe it's happening right now, where people are going to really wish there was someone that could do the physical requirements, fighting shoulder to shoulder with them. I don't know. Not too happy about that. Mr. Elvis Potato Head, he said. Heck yeah. Where's Ting Ting at? She's always the star of this chat. Where are you at? There you are. How's it going? Speaking of people that have served, thank you for your service. And Susan Wiki is Nancy Piglosi in disguise. Oh, yeah. Like I said, she looked at me and she said, well, hold on a minute. What's these flowers for? You still married? I said, dude, look at my wife. Of course I'm still married. You have no chance. I said, you literally have no, like, look, there's 0 chance. Then there's you, which is less than that. But we're still sending her some flowers just to try to, keep the stream going a little bit. Yeah. She was in there last night, though. I couldn't believe it. Like literally, someone put in a comment that was like, "Hey man, thanks for the video." Like that's literally what it said one time. Thanks for the video. I went to reply back. You're welcome. Thumbs up emoji. I typed the emoji in, hit enter, and it said blink errors occurred. I'm like, what? Error? So I hit refresh. The comment was gone. They literally got rid of comments. Now some comments when people cuss, and if you hurt somebody's feelings, that's the newest thing with the YouTube algorithm. If you hurt somebody's feelings, even if you don't cuss at all, they'll literally get rid of it because their bots and artificial intelligence can tell if you're hurting feelings. So they were getting rid of some of those. Some guys would say F the former vice president, but they'd say the whole word. You know, that's fine, whatever. I don't cuss on this show, but whatever. A lot of people do, and I'm fine with that. And yeah, they would delete those. And then literally someone was like, thanks, buddy. Keep up the good work. And Susan would remove that comment. It was literally like, she was driving me nuts last night. Jason Ewing, he was in there in the comments. He was helping me. He was on Troll Patrol. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You know who I'm talking about. U.S. Marine Corps veteran, extremely pissed. I can bet because I'm like really, really pissed, guys. I'm really pissed. But some things, you guys are going to know a little bit more about it than I am. Well, a lot more, right? Ugh, these people are completely nuts. There she is. Speak of the devil. Hold on a minute. Right here. Susan Wiki. You guys see what she looks like right there? What would you pick? That? Or hold on a minute. Where's she at here? There's one in here. I try to keep the streams somewhat professional, but there's one viewer in here that I tend to think is pretty cute from time to time. Hold on a minute. I can't find her. I'll just keep that there until the other one pops up here. Now channel moderator bot obviously is one of the better looking people in the comments. It's always nice to see him. Oh boy, you guys are funny. They want us to eat bugs. They want us to eat bugs. No cake for us. I know. Blue girl in NC, what's happening? She says censorship, left, right, and center. But actually surprising. First Amendment rights. Lordy. Yeah. Look. It's all of the Bill of Rights. And I say this a million times, but it's true. Like, which one do I like more? I don't know. It's all beautiful. Like the whole founding documents, right? But the Second Amendment, it's always just a little bit higher up there on top because, in my opinion, the Second Amendment is literally only there for when they try to take all the rest. And they're trying to take all the rest. And that's why they put it there. It didn't just say the right to keep and bear arms so we can hunt, so we can exercise, so we can collect, so we can have competitions. And these are all great activities. And any free people naturally have the right to enjoy those things. No, necessary to the security of a free state. So they knew our security and our freedom that are codified, not given, but codified. Hands off, shall not be infringed. Congress shall pass no law. That's what's written. And they knew that eventually all political power comes from the barrel of a gun. And that's why they wrote that down. Now, it just amazes me. It amazes me when someone could possibly literally say, like, this is how ignorant some people are in this country. And they actually say that, hey, the Second Amendment's about hunting. Oh, really? No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say to keep people fed, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Like, if that's what they wanted to say, they would have said that. No, it was just totally assumed back then that you were going to hunt food. Because if you didn't hunt in that rural of a society, back then, 1776 era, yeah, you weren't going to eat. So, duh. Of course you hunted. That was just like a totally given. No. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. And that meant, yeah, if Great Britain were to come back. Absolutely, that's what that meant. If France were to come and turn on us. But it also meant, just like that oath, remember? I was just talking to all you veterans out there. Peace officers, people that have ran for any office at all, that have literally served. If you're a precinct delegate, if you're a township trustee, all the way up to the president. I'll just say the president. The former vice president, I don't know. I don't know what he did. You take an oath, and it's to protect and defend against enemies foreign and domestic. So yes, of course it's to protect us from China, from Russia, but it's also to protect us from the White House, from the Congress, from the ATF, from the FBI, all of these people. And yeah, the standing army. If it were to become tyrannical and it were to take tyrannical orders, You know, there's a lot of people that have taken orders and worn uniforms before, haven't they? Do you guys remember? There was this Reich, and I'm not going to say the actual name of it, but you guys, this should ring a bell if you know even this much about history. 1930s, 40s, it was a Reich that was going to last 1,000 years in Germany, right? And their leader gave them orders, many orders. They put people on trains, and they did despicable, horrible things that, if you think about it too long, you want to cry. And I don't want you guys to cry tonight, but I want you just to think about this. And then they were liberated. These camps and these people and these countries were liberated by the Allies, by the United States and others. But you know what? It's always the United States, isn't it? And if we lose this country, nobody's going to come liberate us because we're the last chance the world has. And if the United States falls, we're not going to see another country like this for 1,000 years. But thankfully for all those good people out there, and a lot of you who are alive today, because your ancestors were liberated from that Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years. These were socialists. These were the National Socialist German Workers' Party. They were called that and many other things that you can't even talk about on here because of, well, look where we're at. Look who's on the screen right there, right? Yeah. And somehow they won't let you talk about it because they say if you can't talk about it, people just forget about it, right? And if you forget about it and keep your head in the sand, then it doesn't exist. And then if it goes to repeat itself, right? If it goes to repeat itself, then you'll just let it happen because you won't know what's coming up next because you never even knew, right? Well, I was talking about those people that served, and they took an oath to serve that leader in that country, and they followed orders. And they followed orders that if they even had a shred of morals, if they even answered to any higher being, whether it was the Christian God or many other gods that I don't quite understand because I worship, the Christian God, and I believe that Jesus hung on the cross today, a couple thousand years ago, right? And that's why today is a special day. But whatever, these people had no moral compass. I don't know what was going on in their heads, but you know what they said at the end? They said they were just following orders. And they had the Nuremberg trials many years later, and that was their defense. They got up there. They were in front of do you guys remember that? They were in front of an international court. And they said, well, you killed all these people, like whatever the number was at the time, 11 million. Now they say there's more than that. And I said, I was just following orders. That's all I was doing. Okay. So this is something we need to remember, whether there's somebody right now that's honoring their oath, or whether you know people that are taking oaths. Look, the former vice president can say whatever the heck he wants, okay? These generals can say whatever they want. These people from the Pentagon, chiefs of staff, this, that chief, the other chief, all these darn titles. We are starting to sound like a monarchy nowadays. The Joint Chiefs, they call them, right? They can say whatever they want, but do you really think a handful, like a couple dozen gray-haired old men and women, are they really going to be able to go door to door and take your guns? Of course not. Of course not. Like literally, you could have like 10 of those Joint Chiefs and the former vice president walk in here right now, and me and Lamy would have it taken care of so fast, you guys wouldn't even notice we took a break, and we finished the stream, and I wouldn't even have to wipe the sweat off my brow. Defensively, obviously, Susan, if they were to, No, it's people that took oaths to protect and defend against enemies, foreign and domestic. How many people are just going to follow orders, do you guys think, really? How many of you that took an oath? Now, this is a personal choice. I've heard people give it two ways. They say, well, no longer in the military. I got out. My enlistment was done, or they retired for a full career, and they're like, it's over with. I'm done. I don't have to follow my oath because it's completely done with. That's fine if you want that opinion. But I've known other people that say, once I took that oath, it never leaves me. I'm oath-bound the rest of my life. And I guess that's a personal choice, and you should have that choice. This is America, at least for now it is. What would you guys have done, or what would you currently do if they're like, well, we're going to order you to do this? And you're like, but that's unconstitutional. And they're like, well, follow your orders. You could be brought up on charges, couldn't you? Could you be court-martialed? Could you be put in the stockade? Could you be put in the brig? Yeah, most certainly. Most certainly. I mean, there's reasons why people said we were just following orders. And these were old men when they had those Nuremberg trials. And they came back on them and they said, just following orders? No, that's not an excuse. And they actually sentenced a lot of those people 40 years. You know, some of them, it took them years and years, decades, 50 years in some cases to catch up to them. I think it was just 2 or 3 years ago they finally caught one of the SS or whoever he was. I can't remember his exact title, and finally caught up with him after all those years. But that was literally what their defense was. I'm just following orders. And you know what's interesting? Like when they were locking people out of the People's House, the Michigan Capitol building, that's owned by all of us, right? And the cops were standing there fast, and there were people saying, "You're breaking your oath, you're breaking the Constitution." And the cops would stand there and like, "No closer, we'll have to arrest you." "Oh, really? Why?" "We're just following orders. Don't take it out on us." It's interesting. It's interesting. I want to see what happens, because you know what? There she is. What do you guys think, by the way? Susan Wiki or this one? Which one would you pick? Sorry, Susan. It's pretty obvious. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm thinking about it more and more, because I'll tell you what, for a long time, blue line, support the thin blue line. I mean, and I still do, and I appreciate all of you who are honoring your oath. I really do, but I don't know, man. I don't know much anymore about it. Because I'll tell you what, the former vice president, this is an old, senile, very, very old man. This is whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he literally going to do? Nothing, except for all these oath takers that have guns, and I've seen so many of them, and they just sit there, and in the last year they've done stuff that I wouldn't have even thought was possible in this country. And if it was, I would have thought, well, that's 50 to 100 years down the road. I was obviously naive. And I've watched them sit there and lock people out of the Capitol building. Like literally, like when it matters the very most, when people were in there, and I can't say much because I'm on YouTube, but when they were in there watching certain things being counted and stuff, and they wouldn't let them in. And there were people standing there oath bound to protect and defend against enemies, foreign and domestic, and they wouldn't let the people in, even though there were laws stating they could be there. Natural human rights obviously would dictate they could be there. They wouldn't let them in, and they stood there, and they said, "I'm just following orders, and I will not let you in. And I have a gun, and if necessary, I will kill you." I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's so many good people in uniform still. I know there are. There has to be. I know a lot of you guys are in here right now, but man, those people back in that Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years, they wore uniforms. They took orders. They did all these things. Now, maybe some of them believed in the cause, unfortunately. Probably some of them didn't believe in what they were doing at all and didn't want to do it, but they were so scared that if they didn't do it, they'd be in worse shape than the people they were oppressing, right? Yeah. This is what happens. This is what tyranny means. Like when we say tyranny, people just think that's an insult, like you're just being mean to somebody. Well, it's certainly not a positive thing to call somebody a tyrant tyranny, but it actually has a definition, and it basically means somebody who rules outside of the rule of law. So they're ruling, and they're actually breaking the law as they're supposed to be enforcing the rule of law. And I don't know. Freedom of speech, that's enshrined in our sacred document, the Bill of Rights, isn't it? Yeah. Until a man with a badge and a gun that says, nope. I received orders from somebody that's above you. I'm just a lowly orders follower. I don't know. How does that work? How do you reconcile that? I don't know all the answers, but you guys can obviously tell the way I'm broaching this topic. I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable with it. I'll be honest with you. I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable with it. I don't know. Gray Man, what's happening, man? Thanks for supporting the channel. He says, "I'm retired military, still working as a contractor. My son is active duty, and his story of what's going on is seriously concerning." Well, I know you're a good dude and a patriot, or else you wouldn't be hanging out here. If you were easily offended, you would have been gone a long time ago. I don't know, man. What's going on? Seriously. I know you can't. That was kind of a hypothetical question. You can't literally answer all that, but life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yes, sir. And if you have that, what more would you need, right? Like, literally. He says, Semper Fi. I'm assuming United States Marine Corps, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's weird, man. You stand there and you look at these people, and there's lines of state troopers. You know, they call her Gretchen. They call her let's just say this. I call her a real beauty, right? But in a different kind of way, not in a compliment. And she ordered around the Capitol building to put up these fences, fence off the people's building that like we literally own, like all of us do. And there's these men standing there, men and some women, you know, they're standing there, you know, just standing there, just like they had no soul. And when people are like, yeah, but like we need to go in and talk to our representatives, just following orders. Halt, who goes there? You walk 1 foot onto United States and especially Michigan taxpayer property, and someone with a badge and a gun that took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic, and you've got this governor sitting in there giving them orders when she was just overruled by the Michigan Supreme Court. You guys remember my friend Catherine Henry, constitutional attorney? Yeah, they won in the Michigan Supreme Court. The highest court in the land that would affect Michigan's governor said you're unconstitutional. There's still all these people standing there in badges with guns, and they will kill you. They literally will kill you if you go past a certain point. Look at that veteran that was killed in the United States Capitol, for example, regardless if she was committing a crime or not, completely unarmed. And they're standing there and they're blocking you out of your state house. When you're watching your whole country get flushed down the toilet and you're watching your whole state just like collapsing around you, you want to go talk to these people that you elected as your public servants, and they say, halt. Who goes there? Well, Michigan citizen, taxpayer, otherwise known as your boss, and I'd like to step on the ground of the property that's duly owned by and that I'm allowed to be on, that was granted to me by like things that are like way over your pay grade. Nope. You can turn around and leave, or you can get arrested, or you can get killed, right? I don't know. Some of you guys might be agreeing with me. Some of you guys might not be, but we do have to think about these things because it's definitely goes right back to what are we going to do about all this gun control and how are we going to stop it? Because I'll tell you who's going to be coming for your guns. You know, we say Biden's coming for your guns. Okay, and that's fine to say because, well, he said it. That's what he ran on. He promised, if you elect me, he said, I will come for your guns. But of course he's not going to. Neither was Trump. Neither was Obama. Look, it's like one person, right? They're not coming for anything physically. No, it's police officers that are potentially coming for your guns. And that's what really sucks because a lot of us have always liked the police, and some of us probably don't that are in here. Some people kind of do. Some people are kind of like me, and you're getting a little bit confused, right? You're like, I don't know. Red said, honestly surprised it hasn't happened yet. I'm just thinking about it, guys. Like, look, I'm definitely not, I'm not BLM, okay? I'm not running around saying pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Like, that's what they said, Susan, not me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not like that. I don't want that. And actually, like, I know police officers that are nice people, too. But yeah, these are people that are literally standing there saying, we're just following orders. We're just, I don't know. It's literally completely crazy. Steve Martin with a super chat. Thanks, man. He says, took my daughters to the range today. First time, 20 and 18. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Young ladies getting into guns. What a blast. Our God-given right. Stand up and be counted as patriots. Thank you, 2AEDU. No, thank you. I love that story. Did you guys listen to this one more time, guys? Because here's the thing. Everything I said was true. And we do need to be concerned about it. But, like, let's not all be depressed all night because right there's some hope. Okay. Took my daughters to the range. First time, 20 and 18. What a blast. So if that doesn't offer you encouragement, I don't know what does. That's awesome, man. Thank you. I mean, I appreciate the generous super chat, but just the fact that I saw that message is what I'm truly thanking you for. That's awesome, man. Max Shot, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. Super chat channel member, thanks, dude. He says, tried to talk to my district rep, but you know who that piece of garbage is in the 11th district. I do. I've met her and a couple other pieces of garbage. Ugh. Oh, there's some real beauties in Michigan, trust me. In all of the states, actually. Urban Interpreter 247 says, Michigan made, right on. I'm from Michigan. I think a few of us are, right? What do you guys say? Our governor, not so much. Okay, look, no. But people of Michigan, heck yeah. There's a lot of good people around here. There are. You should have been uncomfortable a long time ago. Look, guys, what does it say? What does it say, though, right? A long train of usurpations. Here's what it says. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. That is human nature, and the founding fathers did recognize that, right? Michigan Watch and all of you. I mean, think about it. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them unto absolute despotism. Look up what despot means, guys. It's a powerful word. Very appropriate word nowadays. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. I mean, there you go. Yeah, you get accustomed. It's the whole you throw a frog in a pot of water and it's just swimming away. You turn up the heat. The water so gradually increases, he'll die before he knows to jump out because it just so slowly but surely overcame him, right? And that's kind of what happens. And yeah, part of it you can say is our weakness. We're so stupid that we would fall for that. Sure, but hey, look, guys, we're just humans, right? We're just humans. And the founding fathers talked about this exact topic, didn't they? Do we need to be vigilant? Yes. Do we need to be smarter than these people? Yes. But don't be too hard on yourselves. I mean, this has happened before, and they basically predicted it would happen again. So there is some encouragement in this, knowing, hey, look, I'm just human, okay? But people just decide for themselves. Maybe it's a personal choice. Maybe a bunch of people individually will have the same personal choice all at once to one day decide, no, enough's enough. I'm tired of this crap. I'm going to actually go and find out who's in the primary. Or maybe they'll want to go do other things. I don't know. There's many things we can do to help change our country in a good way, right? I don't know. I do know. I just can't say too much because I'm on Susan Wiki's YouTube. Tad Mason with a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Looks like we have a military man right there. He says, you look insanely close to a guy I was in the army with, and we're deployed together in 2008 to Afghanistan. Well, it wasn't me, but maybe. Hey, they say everybody has a long-lost twin somewhere, right? Hopefully he was a good dude that you served with. He's like, oh, man, you're him. We still have beef. Like, no. I don't think that's what you meant, did you, Tad? Well, thanks. And thank you for your service, and that's a nice picture. Oh, man. I'm like, hopefully I don't look like the guy he hated. No, of course not. I'm just messing with him. Mike McClune with the super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, like the video last night. Gave thumbs up to all the comments, including my own, just to irritate old Susan. Keep on doing what you do. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And look, that video was just literally trying to give you guys something to think about. Look, it's been reported, like from the office of the former and whatever you want to call it. They're saying that they're coming after imports. I don't know. They could just be fear-mongering us. But I'm certainly not. I was just literally letting people know. I've seen this happen before. I bought my first gun right before the 94 AWB. But yeah, it says shall not be infringed, and it's totally illegal, and Congress makes laws, and they can't do this, and people wanted to remind me, which I appreciate. They wanted to remind me. They said, to AEDU, they said, do you understand the United States Congress? And I'm like, well, I've heard of them. Yeah, sure. And then they'll come back a few minutes later. Only Congress can make laws. Doesn't matter what the executive branch does. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Now, look, here's the deal, guys. You can call it an executive action. A lot of people say, and I don't know, there's probably really smart people saying this on here. Executive action means absolutely nothing. Okay. Executive order. Look, they said they're going to take executive actions. if the executive branch like walks down the hallway, they're taking an action. If they have a meeting, they're taking an action. Okay? If they go to Congress and say, we want a bill, like they're taking actions towards, then there's an actual executive action. Then there's an exacting thing called an executive order. Now, here's the deal. What can they and can't they do? Well, in my opinion, they should have very little power. And that's what the founding fathers said. And they should not be able to make laws. And if they do any type of executive orders or actions, they should only be for the people who work in the executive branch. See, the way I understand the founding documents is this. If they give orders or actions from the executive office, that's just to reorganize all their employees. So if you work for the executive branch, that's your boss. It's like a new work policy for everybody. And they should be able to rapidly do that because they may need to shift resources around their department for different things. I mean, that is what it technically means still, but it's been perverted so much. Supreme Court precedents. I hate case law, but that's what we've become accustomed to in this country. It's not really the way it works anymore. Now you have the executive branch. They'll take an action. They'll do an executive order. And they'll say, hey, we now are telling the ATF or the Department of Justice, which would then pass it down to the ATF. And they're like, all right, we need you to start going after this. This we now consider to be banned. And there's a million people who are going to run around and say, it doesn't matter. He has no authority. He can't do anything. Well, he has the amount of authority that we let him have. And apparently, a lot of people must be accustomed to the forums, right? Yeah, they must be accustomed to the forums that are going on right now. They must be inclined to be disposed to suffer all these things that the Declaration talks about because people are letting them do it, okay? They're letting them do it. And here's literally how it works. The former vice president or anybody who's in the office will come up and they'll say, all right, I hereby sign this piece of paper and I'm directing my Department of Commerce to stop imports. They're going to stop them. What are you going to do to stop it? Well, there's many things you could do, but if you just literally look it on its face, I mean, are you going to get in a little skiff and drive all the way, not drive, but boat all the way across the ocean and bring them back to shore? And then when you're boarding on the dock and there's a bunch of people with badges upholding their orders that are pointing guns at you, are you going to have this big fight and win? I don't know. I mean, maybe you could, but probably not. So people can say all they want. I'm not going to do anything because we don't have to worry about this because they can't do it. I'm sorry, but that's a really wussy way out. People saying, I'm not going to get involved in the fight because they can't do it. No, the society that we've allowed ourselves to become accustomed, as powerful as we've allowed the Supreme Court to become, as much as we've just sat there and patiently tolerated these sufferances like the colonists had been suffering. No, this is how this works. They put in an action. Let me ask you guys a question before I even go there. Go to the store right now and buy a brand new Polytech Legend AK rifle. Go buy one for a couple $100, $400 or $500. Da-na-na. Oh, you can't? Well, of course you can't because it was banned by the executive branch a long time ago, like 32 years ago. I just don't understand that. Can you guys help me understand this a little bit? All the comments I get, I don't get many, like 99% of the comments I get are very encouraging. And that's why I keep doing these videos. Because if I didn't think I was encouraging anyone and I wasn't having somewhat of a good time, I just wouldn't do this. Like I could just go do more jobs outside and I'd still feed my family just fine. Like I actually feed my family better because this is my most expensive hobby. But it's like, man, they literally say, oh, you're full of crap. Why are you even talking about like different ways people can prepare and certain guns they could look into that could be possibly banned by executive action or order? And they're like, they can't do anything. They can't do it. So don't even prepare. You're fear-mongering people because they can't do it because the Constitution says so and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? The Constitution and Bill of Rights in the Declaration of Independence, they're just pieces of parchment paper. And unless there's enough people that are willing to stand for these, it doesn't matter what this says. They do like tens of thousands of things every day that violates every single founding document. And they do it. Why? Well, because they can. And they're doing it at the consent of the governed, which is basically, you guys know what I'm saying, right? They say, but hold on a minute. The ATF can't just ban something. They can't do that. Huh, really? Wait and see. I mean, they can't, I agree, but they are doing it, aren't they? They can do whatever they want, unless or until people say, nope, that's enough. Vote them out. Whatever your plan is. Go to those primaries. Get people in there who are going to raise Cain and who are going to call them to the table, right? Let the American people have a little bit of a voice of how their country's run again. MaxShot62, thanks for another super chat, man. He said, their tactics are bait and switch. Pay attention to what they're trying to do to the Fourth Amendment. Look, dude, they're doing it all at once, okay? They're doing it all at once. I'm not going to say that it's always bait and switch. I mean, it is generally, okay? Generally, I think you're right. But sometimes they are actually trying to do what they're saying they're doing. So just because they're saying, hey, we're looking to do executive actions or orders on guns, doesn't mean that they're just going over to the Fourth Amendment and leaving the Second alone. No, they're probably actually trying to do executive actions on guns. And then while you're so preconsumed with that, they're going for the Fourth. So, yeah, it's bait and switch, but it's even worse than that. And I think that's probably what you actually meant in your comment. It's bait and switch, but it's not like, hey, here, we're going to come after this. Never mind, we'll come after this instead. No, we're coming after this. Never mind, we're still going to come after this, but also sneak in and come after something else. I mean, that's kind of what I've noticed anyways. Bludgeon American Patriot, thanks for another super chat. It says, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. Yep. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. Thomas Jefferson. I knew I recognized that one. Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. They always say it's just necessary, right? Think about it. It's just 15 days, okay? Just 15 days to slow the, just 15 days to flatten the whatever. Yeah. I don't really like to talk about health stuff too much on here because of but yeah, literally, if we can save one life, right? It's so amazing. You can literally sit there and go through and read these founding fathers quotes, and there's so many of them, and you read them and you're like, whoa, hold on a minute. You read this, Thomas Jefferson, like what's the newest this quote could be is what, the early 1800s? He didn't make it to maybe, when did he die? 18 teens-ish, let's just say. I might be off by even a decade. Okay. This is a couple hundred years ago. And literally, this could have been written by the smartest person ever in the year 2021, like right now. If they tell people that something's necessary, people usually do it, even though they're taking advice from like some of the stupidest people that I've ever heard, and people that have literally never had a real job in their whole life. Like, what could people like Mitch McConnell and the former vice president possibly know about being a regular person? These people have been, aristocrats for 50, 60, 70 years. These people have literally been in office longer than most people will be alive. And if you think about that, it kind of makes you think like, oh my gosh, like, how is that possible? But it actually explains a lot, doesn't it? It explains why we're in a lot of the situations we're in right now, doesn't it? People that are just so out of touch with reality that they don't even have to think about what it's like to get calluses on their hands. To have to take a shower like as soon as you get off work before you can even eat dinner because you had to sweat so much and you're covered from head to toe with grease because you're a landscaper, because you're working on an asphalt crew, right? Because you're a construction worker, because you're a truck driver, because you're a nurse. That's a really tough, dirty job too. No, they don't care about that. They just sit there and try to argue about the parliamentary this, the parliamentary that. By the way, that's another thing that kind of drives me nuts. You hear about that once in a while? This Republic of the United States, what have we, a monarchy or a republic? Okay, a republic if you can keep it. Well, I thought over in Britain they have parliament, and then we hear that it's the parliamentary that actually runs our Congress. You guys have heard that once in a while, right? Do any of you kind of perk up your ears and go, huh? Did I just hear parliament? Well, yeah, actually you did. They were saying, well, hold on a minute. Schumer can't do this in this exact way in the Senate because the parliamentarian overruled him. And in a mere second, I was happy to hear that. I'm like, all right, Schumer got overruled. This is cool. But then I paused for a minute. Did any of you guys pause? That was in the news like a couple months back. I'm like, wait a minute. Parliament just came in? The parliamentary, they call them, came in and overruled the Senate majority leader. And I'm like, all right, who is this person? Did I vote for her? No, I didn't vote for her. But yeah, So we have our we have our House of Representatives, right? Okay. No term limits. And there's a lot of good candidates that will actually run in primaries that want to get rid of term limits, by the way. Back to these primaries. Oh, I mentioned get involved in the primaries. I just lost 10 more viewers and a thumbs down. That's okay, though. That's okay. Like I said, for anyone who's trying to discourage me, I never did this to be popular. Now, we have the People's House, the lower chamber, the House of Representatives, right? 435 of them. No term limits, but there should be. They're supposed to be the People's House, the closest to the people. Okay. And then we have the upper chamber, the Senate, which they wrote in early documents, which would be of better men. Right? Isn't that what they said? But then in the end, the parliamentary can override them. I don't know. But yeah, these old quotes, you read them and you're like, oh, this was just written in 2021. And you're like, it couldn't have been. Dude's been dead for 200 years. Wow. Susan Solomon said, 2AEDU and Chad, just found your channel. Wow, I've been looking for something like this. Thank you. Just subscribe. Well, that's awesome. And see what I said? Somebody new here. Susan says, the chat. I told you guys the chat's awesome. Like, that's what I tell people. I'm like, look, just come to the stream. What are you talking about? I'm like, it doesn't matter. The chat's so good, you'll have a good time, right? So I'm going to be reading this throughout the weekend, guys. I always do, and that's why I come back next Friday. Every Friday, I'm like, happy Friday. It's good to be back. I've been looking forward to this all week because I see like lots of really smart things. You guys will give me little tips, and here's where you can find this. Here's where you can find that. Now, you guys will also just show me the encouragement that you guys are smart people, that you guys are moral people, and that you guys are really just trying to fight the good fight. And that actually means more than anything, because I said that earlier to the gentleman that was asking about the polymer 80. And when I tell you guys, like, I don't know, I'm not being cute with that word. I'm just saying I don't know, meaning I have to think about certain things. And some things I've been thinking about a long time, and I don't know if I'll ever figure it out. Like, the polymer 80, do you go up on that hill and die on it by yourself alone and watch your dog mercilessly, whatever? Whew, I would hope not. That's why I start to talk about things like primaries and finding people that aren't the lesser of two evils. Maybe there's a patriot out there that would go to the United States Congress and try to tear down all this establishment and go in there for the people and work their butt off and fight and be honored to serve for 2 or 4 or maybe even 6 years. I don't know where the number is. Then go home, go back to work, and not get so filthy rich in those 2, 4, or 6 years that they could go there. Look, how many of you guys have done this? Like I said, people that were in the United States Armed Services, you don't make much money. And you shouldn't be millionaires from being in the armed services, because that's why it's called the services. You're serving. You went in there for public service. You had a calling to protect and defend your country and all of the people from enemies, foreign and domestic. That's what you did, didn't you? Now, there was some perks and GI Bill, and all those things are great. And I'm happy that you had that. But you probably didn't go in there to get rich. You went there and you did your maybe 2 years if you're old school, right? Maybe 4 years nowadays, or a lot of times closer to 6. You did your 2, 4, 6 years and you got out. You were just as poor as when you went in, and you had to put your work boots on and you had to go to work. That's how the United States Congress should be, in my opinion. If you go in rich, that's fine. You can be rich. Then leave with the same money. If you go in there dirt poor, go in there, serve your country, fight for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Take that oath and defend her against enemies, foreign and domestic. Fight like hell for the people and to save this country. Don't let us become a communist country. Go back home, go to work, get on with your life. Because there's someone else just as smart, just as energetic as them that could come right back in there. But no, we'll have one person sitting there. People like Pelosi that's been in there for 50 years. And they're literally sitting there supposed to be serving hundreds of thousands of people. And that's the best they can do. That's the best they can have. And that's apparently what they want. Because they just keep voting and voting and voting for these people, supposedly. Now, some people say that's not even the whole story. But I digress. I don't know. That's what these guys did. That's what the founding fathers did. See, there wasn't term limits with George Washington. You know that, right? Like, he went in there and said, that's enough. Done. I don't want to be your king. I'm not going to be the president forever. And there was actually nothing that even gave them term limits until Franklin Roosevelt with his New Deal, I would note, and many people say one of the probably the most socialist president ever up to that time. He was just going to keep running and running and running, and that's why we ended up with a constitutional amendment to limit term limits. Yeah. The original founding fathers, they didn't have term limits because they didn't need them. I don't know if you guys know that yet. Look at when term limits were put in, and look at George Washington. He left on his own accord. And a lot of people say he was even starting to become tyrannical towards the end, but at least he left. He got out, didn't he? Denny's Plant-Based Journey. Thanks a lot for the super chat, man. Another channel member, thanks. He says the idea is to make you afraid to speak up and feel ashamed. Then they can continue to push and push without opposition. Let's stand now, not later. I know, man. And like I said, I'm not trying to, sound corny, and I'm not like, I'm not asking for stuff. I don't need to. But when I tell you guys, look, like, I need you guys' encouragement, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Don't forget this, guys. I think most people are this way, but I'm just going to speak for myself. When one of you guys come in there and say, love you, brother, I really appreciate you doing this video. Like, I read that and I take it to heart, and that's a good thing, because there's a lot of people out there that are trying to shame me and shame all of you guys. I totally get it. This is a small channel, but you put yourself out there and you've got thousands of people sometimes watch my videos, and I get some pretty nasty, hateful things, and people that, they might make fun of me. They might try to threaten me. They might just be mean in general, and that's fine, and I can take it, but you don't need to be ashamed who you are. Look, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that was given to you, to all of you, by your creator. Look, whoever created you. Now, if you feel the former vice president created you, well, then I guess he gave them to you, right? Is there anyone that really thinks that? I don't think so. So, whoever created you gave you all you're going to need, and nobody can take that away from you. Is that enough? Yes, but we're just humans at the end of the day, and we sit there, and sometimes we do get pretty frustrated. And here's what I found. Just hang out with good people. If you're a good person, you know what? You deserve the very best, and other people deserve to have you, and you deserve them, and vice versa. And I've met a lot of good people out there fighting for our God-given rights and for our Second Amendment. And that's the people that I'd be focusing on, and that I would be, giving your energy to, because there's only so much energy and so much fight that you have in yourself, right? Like, look, we're all born, and eventually we're all going to die. And you only have so many breaths in your body. Just the truth, right? So I would try to keep your head up, guys, seriously, and focus on positive energy. Focus on good people, because there's a lot of people who deserve it, and there's a lot of people who are just going to hate you no matter what. You may be doing the totally right thing, and they're just going to hate you because they want to watch the world burn. I get it. I do, Denny. So thank you for your encouragement, and thank all of you. Scarface Nixon, 762. There's my guy, 762. Hold on. There you go. 762 by 39. Hold on. Maybe he's a 762 by 54R. I got to get you covered one way or another, right? All right. Now, this is for Ting Ting. I think she said she's a 54R fan. Am I right? What do you guys think? 762 by 39 or 54R? Or you can just say both, because to me it's both. And this is a full rifle round. This is an intermediate round. And they both serve completely separate purposes. And yeah, there we go. And you could carry them both at the same time. That would be fine with me too. Or I guess maybe you could carry 5.56 if you wanted. I guess I'm more of an AK guy. Hey, AR guys, I'm going to do an exciting unboxing of a parts kit. So if you're going to look forward to that, check out the channel next week. But I'm still an AK guy, even though I am going to do an AR parts kit unboxing. He says, Scarface Nixon. He's like, come on, man. Are you going to read my chat or what? I'll get to it. I'm getting there, 762 by 54R. Well, okay. Don't be surprised if the ATF changed the definition of a firearm. I would not be surprised at all. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. And Congressman, you need to get on the ATF. Look, I will say this. Is he the best there is? No. Okay. Am I going to put my faith in him? No. Look, the man that I put faith in okay? The being that I put faith in sent his son, his only son, down to earth, and he died on the cross a couple thousand years ago. That's who I put my faith in. Anything short of that, I'm not going to put my soul on the line for, period. And then you look at the United States Congress. Look, here's the deal, guys. I don't believe any president. I don't believe anyone in the Congress. They're not going to save my soul. They're not going to save my eternity. They're not going to make me happy, and I wouldn't even consider them to possibly have a chance at making me happy. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't mean we just sit there and say, well, hold on. Heaven, or I can only speak to my religion, guys, but I respect all religions. I do. I get it. Whatever it is you believe in for your eternity, I believe I have a chance, that I have the chance to be saved by Jesus sending his son down as a sacrifice, and the ultimate sacrifice. But nobody in the United States Congress is going to do that for us, and we shouldn't expect them to. And we have greater things that we aspire towards in the afterlife, and we have much greater things than the government to be worried about just here on earth too, like our beautiful children and our wife, some of your husbands. Look, but that doesn't mean we should just lay down and be weak. It doesn't mean we should be weak at all. Remember Jesus when he was talking to his disciples? He told them to take up their sword, and they said, what if we don't have a sword? He said, sell your cloak and buy a sword. Yeah. The Bible also says there's times for peace and there's times for war. So, yeah, Congress is never going to make you happy. I get it. In fact, this Bill of Rights, this is one of the most beautiful things you could have on earth. And I believe God did bless this document. And I believe literally, this is just what I believe, guys. And you do not have to agree with me on any of this. But I believe if God didn't bless this document, we wouldn't be here right now, and we wouldn't be talking about this, because it was literally nothing short of a miracle that they pulled this off. And I don't think they pulled it off by themselves. And I don't think we're going to pull it off on our own. We're never going to be able to, and we never have been. Look, keep the faith, whatever it is that you get your faith from, okay? Whether it's Jesus Christ, God, and you're celebrating Good Friday today, you're going to be celebrating the miracle when he arose from the dead this Sunday. Or whatever it is that you hold sacred, that's what you're going to need. Okay? You're going to need that to guide you through. But meanwhile, we still have to fight these fights. And that's why I am going to call my congressman. And he's far from perfect because, like I said, the only one that was perfect hung on the cross and died for us. But I'm going to call him because, hey, last time a bunch of us called my representative Wahlberg to the United States Congress, he did actually put his name on the letter, and he told the ATF, lay off the bump stocks right now. And they did after all those congressmen did. So these people can be completely far from perfect. These people can be sinners, and we're all sinners. And I would encourage anybody who was out without sin to cast the first stone, like the Bible said, right? He who is without sin cast the first stone. Okay. Look, but there is cases, and we've seen it recently, where when you do write them and you do demand of them and you threaten them to remove them from office, you're not going to get my vote. You're fired, however you want to word it. You can call them and say, look, you will oppose the ATF trying to do this, or you're fired. Or you can say, would you pretty please? I mean, that's your prerogative, right? Called my congressman. A lot of people did. He signed the letter, helped stop the braces this last time around. So I'll be back there calling him again this next week about trying to get him to sign the next letter to oppose reclassifying firearms, because I believe they want to reclassify them and make it so darn convoluted that it'll make it almost impossible, right? To even be able to keep track. Now, they'll obviously need their universal background checks, which needs a registry. Registration leads to confiscation. But I don't need to go down that rabbit hole because you guys probably already know that. Gray Man, thanks for the super chat, man. And he's another Founding Fathers quote that has a lot to do with what we're talking about tonight, right? Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Man, that is so smart. These people were really smart, guys. They really were. I'm not smart at all. I'm just lucky enough that, I was born in a country that smart people founded, and I guess I'm lucky enough tonight to be hanging out with a lot of smart friends. But man, oh man. See, there's all the quotes, and I can't remember all of them, but they're inspiring, and you guys should be inspired by that because it's the truth, and that's what I was kind of getting at earlier, you know? Look, a lot of this just literally comes down to good old, simple, old-fashioned what's right and what's wrong, you know? To sit there and deprive somebody of their natural rights, to try to restrict them, to try to get them to think exactly like you think, nobody that's even a halfway decent person could possibly think that's okay. And that's where these words like despotism, I told you to look it up. I know what it means, but look up what a despot is, what despotism means. Look up tyranny, look up tyrannical, look up tyrant. These are all the same words, but we use them in context, right? So look, yes, we need to fight fire with fire. And yes, we did have Lexington and Concord, and they did take up arms, right? Thomas Jefferson, in his letter right before the Constitution was finished, he said, let them take arms, didn't he? From time to time, the tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants. That's what he said. Not me. That's what he said, Susan Wiki. But these were virtuous people, and they did have a moral compass. Some of them were Christians. I've read that some of them were not. But at the same time, they still had enough moral character where they could have a compass, okay? And somebody's listening to this right now, maybe, and you're of a totally different faith, and you're not celebrating Good Friday, but you're probably still a very fine person, and you probably still have a moral compass, and you're probably still a great American. So I don't want anyone to think that, oh, 2A EDU is just doing the Christian religious service tonight. Well, it's Good Friday, and I am going to be very thankful for that. And that's a pretty tough thing to ask somebody to do. I don't think many people would do it, but I'm thankful God did. He sent his only son, right? Yeah. Whoever believes in him can seek forgiveness and have eternity, everlasting life. Mike McClune, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. They don't want us to have any enjoyable hobbies anymore. I know. Just look at what the EPA is doing to the automotive enthusiasts in the aftermarket industry. I know. See, it's not just our guns, it's everything, right, Mike? But that's the thing. That's why they want to take our guns. Because if they weren't trying to do something completely abhorrent, right? Completely abhorrent, they wouldn't want to take our guns. It makes you wonder, right? If they're trying to take our guns, what do they have planned where we would possibly even want to use them? Because we just want to hang out and enjoy our hobbies with our automotive, our vehicles, right? We want to do some shooting, maybe get out and do some jet skiing, snowmobiling, Michigan people, right? We like to snowmobile, don't we? Boats, Great Lakes State. That's all we want to do. Do you remember last year? Gretchen said, no, you can go out in a rowboat, and that's totally fine. But due to the whatever it's called, the plague, the whatever that we had, you can't go out in a motorboat, she said. And that's why we call her a tyrant. Why do we call her a tyrant? Somebody asked me once. I said, well, because she is a tyrant. That's why. It's literally that simple, because she is. Ting ting, beat your plows into swords. Yep. Plowshares into swords. Time for peace and a time to war. For war. Yep. Well, I hope you guys are having a good night tonight. And you know what's crazy is it's literally been like 2 hours already. I was seriously looked up and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm probably about halfway through. I've been on for an hour or so. No, I have been on for 2 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Well, I hope you guys had as much fun as I did, and that went by just as fast, because it certainly went by fast for me. I'm going to read a couple chats here and hang out just for a minute, guys. Denny's plant-based journey said, yeah, Biden offered the Manchin's wife a job. Oh, I've heard all about it. It's completely nuts. Sounds like he's bribing the Manchin family to end the filibuster. End the filibuster. I don't know. We need to get these people out, don't we, guys? We need to get them out. Sin City Detecting. Well, thank you. Love watching the show. Thank you for all the info. God bless. Well, thank you. And it was such a nice comment, I read it. Even though the bot, it must have got past it. It must be jammed up right now. Hurry up, guys. The bot's jammed up for 10 seconds. He'll bring it back. J-Ham, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, is it just me or is the pistol clarification in Michigan vague? It is and it isn't. Hold on, let me finish reading. Just curious if you know what specs an AR pistol would have to meet or if a brace is legal. Definitive answers are hard to decode in law. Okay. You're going to hate me saying this. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice. This show is only for entertainment. With that said, Michigan has an interesting way they do things. Federally, a rifle is measured with the stock deployed, right? In Michigan, if you have a collapsible stock, they make you shrink it down to as small as you possibly can. So if it's an AK underfolder, you underfold the stock. Now, this is not in law. This is an attorney general's opinion that's still standing there, and that serves as what we call case law or executive. It's an attorney general's opinion is literally what it's called. Okay, so we would measure, so like an AK underfolder, if you fold the stock under, take off the muzzle brake, because unless it's pinned and welded, it doesn't count towards overall length. It's like 25.5 inches. It's a pistol in Michigan. You have to register it, which is the curse. The silver lining is if you do register it, it is a pistol, and then you can concealed carry it with your CPL, even though in Michigan we can't carry loaded rifles in our vehicles. Yeah, it's messed up. I was down in Indiana. I'm talking to Chris, Marksman Shooting Sports. I'm like, can you carry a loaded rifle? He's like, yeah, of course, without a license. I'm like, Michigan. Okay. AR, though, you're not going to be able to fold the stock unless there is some examples. But here's the problem. Even if you could fold it, like if you had a law tactical, it's only in the smallest foldable, fireable position. So an AR, even if you can fold it, you can't shoot it without the receiver extension, aka buffer tube. So you got to leave that out. So you would measure from the end of the buffer tube to the front. If it's not pinned and welded in place or if it's not secured permanently, just to the end of the muzzle, you would not count the muzzle brake towards your overall length. Braces. Last time, this is another interesting thing because braces haven't even had an attorney general's opinion. This is the last thing that I've been under the impression of, and I hate calling police to ask them interpretations of the law, but I did call the state police just to see what their viewpoint is, because even though they don't get to decide what the law is, in my opinion, at all, it's nice to know what they're enforcing, so that way if you get pulled over, because in Michigan, state police get what's called monthly legal updates that tell their officers how they are to enforce laws, and most of the time, not always, but most of the time, local city police and even county sheriffs will actually abide by, they'll just take and look at what all the legal memos are, legal updates for the Michigan State Police, and they'll follow those. So last time I checked, and last time I called the State Police Firearms Division, they said they were not counting the brace towards the overall length because it was easily removable. Literally, if you called tomorrow, they might tell you something different. It's a tough question to ask. I know you... I'm trying to give you as thorough of an answer as I can, trust me. But just remember that if it's a rifle and it will fire with the stock retracted or folded and it's less than 26 inches, register it as a pistol. If the muzzle device is removable, you don't count it towards overall length. That's pretty similar to federal law on that part of it with the muzzle device. And in my opinion, for your entertainment purposes only, the last thing I was told was they weren't counting braces towards OAL. Yeah. The fact that we even have to think about this stuff is completely crazy, right, guys? Much respect from the cornfields of Indiana. Dude, I probably drove by your house. It was such a nice drive. Driving through western Michigan, cutting down through Indiana, just cornfields forever. Look, if you guys are ever in that part of Indiana, it's north of Indianapolis by a little bit. Definitely down past Fort Worth. Going to Marksman Shooting Sports. He has some really nice stuff in there. His inventory was pretty hit up because, well, people are buying everything they can find, but still some really nice stuff. Just an awesome, awesome guy. Like, seriously, glad to have him as a friend. I would definitely support his business any day. If you guys are ever down in that area, he's got a website, all this stuff that I can't really promote. All of you guys know you guys know how to get a hold of him. Marksman TV, awesome guy, awesome shop. I would definitely recommend, hanging out or doing some business. Gear, Knives, and More with a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, 16, for God, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Yes, sir. And that's an awesome note. Amen to that. Look, Good Friday. Amen. That's truly what gives me my hope, guys. It really is. But we do need to fight. We do need to fight like heck, because there's battles here on earth that we need to fight. And then once our work's done here, then we can move on to bigger and better things, right? And speaking of which, Sergey, that's what I was talking about earlier. Ryan Kelly's another one. I said, look, I'm talking to people right now that are running in primaries. I met with him a few weeks ago. Really enjoyed talking to him. And I'm definitely going to be keeping you guys in the loop as much as I can, showing you how I'm doing it in Michigan, just trying to meet with different grassroots candidates that are running in the primaries, who are hardcore 2A supporters, people that just support life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, period. Right, Sergey? So, yeah, this is how we get it involved. For some reason, people don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it. And, of course, still keep talking about guns, too, because I'm tired of the lesser of two evils. So, as of right now, I'm going to give you guys more information. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about some of the people running in the primaries here in Michigan. Ryan Kelly for governor, Mike Detmer, many other people. And we'll have some fun hanging out and figuring all this out. Thanks for the super chat, Sergey. I appreciate it, man. And thank you, all of you, for hanging out. I hope you guys have an awesome holiday weekend, right, with your families. Good night, Threaded, for my pleasure. Nice to see you, man. He says, good night. Much love from Stretchin's Lair, Lansing. All right, guys. I appreciate all the encouragement, and I hope you guys had a good time tonight. It's been over 2 hours. I better get off because I'm actually really hungry. I need to go eat some food, but I appreciate hanging out with you guys. Thanks for another super chat, Sergey, man. You're generous. He says, I'm excited to travel with Ryan Kelly going up north next week. Awesome, dude. Well, tell him I said hi. I'm sure he'll remember when I met with him, and I told him once things start to heat up just a little bit, I'd like to get him on and talk about some certainly Second Amendment things here. And I have my other channel as well. I'd like to get some good people on the ballot for once, so we don't have to always look at the other side of that same corrupt coin. All right. Bless all of you guys. I hope you guys are going to have an awesome weekend. I know you are. So have fun. We can do two things at once. We can be very, very thankful that we're alive. We can be very thankful for our family. We can be thankful for the freedom we have left. And because we appreciate all that and hold it so dear, we need to have the energy and motivation to fight like heck to save this country and keep our Second Amendment and all of our God-given rights alive and well. With that, I will see you guys next week. And in the comment sections of my videos, I'm going to put out in the meantime. All right. Thanks for watching and have a good one.